Set against competition from the Samsung Galaxy S5, the Sony Xperia Z2 feels like the antithesis of the Korean flagship. Where Samsung was hell-bent on throwing everything at the wall in hopes of attracting consumer attention, Sony's flagship felt like a device where the thought was on making improvements all around. Improvements that made sense and improved the experience. Now that we spend more time with the device, we're all the more sure that Sony thought long and hard when working on the Xperia Z2. Hi, this is Dhruv Bhutani from PhoneArena.com and we're about to review the Sony Xperia Z2. One glance at the phone and you might just mistake it for the model that it replaces. Sony has taken a design that impressed and made much needed improvements to it all around. The Xperia Z2's design can be termed as an iterative update at best. The focus up front remains on the large 5.2-inch tri-luminous display. While the display size has gone up, the dimensions have remained almost the same, which is a relief as bezel sizes are still on the larger side. There's minimal Sony branding up top with a 2.2 megapixel front-facing camera on the side. The inky black display melds into the deep dark bezel when switched off and gives it a slate-like feel. The Sony Xperia Z2 sports front-facing stereo speakers, and these are hidden under elongated strips cut out of the glass. Hidden away for the most part for design considerations, the upper strip also includes the earpiece and the notification LED. The right side of the phone sports a microSD card slot up top. This is hidden away under a flap. Below this is the machined aluminium power button that provides resounding feedback despite being fairly small and inconspicuous. Next up is the volume rocker, following which you can see the dual stage camera key. Shutter keys are increasingly hard to spot in Android devices and we are very happy to see some quality hardware here. Things don't really ease up on the left side of the phone either. First step is the micro USB port and the micro SIM card slot, both of which are hidden under a single flap. Next comes the dock connector that you can use to connect the Z2 with a range of accessories on offer from Sony. At the bottom left corner of the Z2 is the lanyard slot. The back of the phone is made of Dragon Trail glass just like the front. We'd recommend picking up a case, but it really is a shame as we think that the phone exudes understated elegance and shouldn't really have to be wrapped up despite being really fingerprint prone. On the top left corner is the 20.7 megapixel camera with a 27mm wide angle Sony G lens. The camera module is similar to the Z1 but brings some improvements to the table. It is paired with a single LED flash next to it. The glass and aluminium construction of the phone is not just beautiful to look at, it also adds to the IP58 rating of the device. Indeed, the flaps covering all the ports are responsible for making sure that your phone remains safe even when submerged in water or subjected to extreme dust. The dimensions of the Z2 come in at 146.8 by 73.3 by 8.2 millimeters. This makes it slightly taller and slightly slimmer than the Z1, which is being replaced here. Weighing in at 163 grams, it is about 7 grams lighter than the Z1. All these are tangible improvements, but there is no doubt that the Xperia Z2 is a big phone, right from the bezels to the general hardware design. Moving on to the software. If you're upgrading from a recent Sony device, the interface will appear all too familiar to you. There's an under-the-hood upgrade to Android 4.4, but for all intents and purposes, the Z2 operates the same as the Z1 or most other Sony phones from last year. The home screen works as you'd expect. A wide range of widgets come preset on the device, but it's a trivial job to remove or move these around. You can have up to 7 home screen panes and any of these can be set as the default. Moving into the app drawer, it is possible to sort this manually, alphabetically, and also by recently installed and most used applications. The Sony Xperia Z2 also supports small apps which are essentially slightly more powerful widgets. 9 of these are bundled in with the option to download more from the Play Store. Only one small app can be launched at a time. There's a modicum of customization built into the interface. You can choose from several preset themes that do little more than to change the wallpaper and the UI hues. Still, it works quite well to freshen things up. Sony's interface arguably ranks right up there with the most beautiful Android skins and performs equally well. The interface remains buttery smooth no matter what you throw at it. The phone runs on Android 4.4 and we think it provides a fantastic experience that will please all sorts of users. Let's talk about the performance of the phone. Most flagships out in the market right now pack similar firepower under the hood. The Xperia Z2 also runs on the Snapdragon 801 chip. The MSM 8974AB chip brings a 2.27 GHz Crate 400 CPU with a 550 MHz Adreno 330 GPU. Paired with this, you'll find 3 GB of RAM. Since the 8974AB chipset that the Z2 uses comes from the low performance bin of the Snapdragon 801 system-on-chip line, you'll find that the benchmark performance lags slightly behind the likes of the Galaxy S5, which have the MSM 8974 AC chipset clocked at 2.5 GHz. Despite the on-paper gap in power, real-world usage is absolutely top-notch. You'll struggle to spot lags, and absolutely anything you throw at the phone works without a hitch. The display on the phone is a 5.2-inch 1080p tri-luminous IPS display. Sony has built in its X-Reality engine here. The screen has a pixel density of 424 ppi, which means that everything looks absolutely tack sharp on the display. By removing the shatterproof layer seen on the Z1 and others, there have been improvements all around. Not only are the viewing angles better than they've ever been on any Sony smartphone, the colors do appear punchy yet natural. You can increase saturation levels a bit by enabling the X-Reality engine. This is more of a personal preference and we were quite fine using the phone even with the option ticked off. The one area where the display on the Z2 does suffer is brightness levels, because of which it can be a bit hard to view the screen outdoors. The extremely reflective glass surface makes this even harder. There's not much that has changed in terms of camera hardware on the Z2. Sony has kept the same 20.7 megapixel module that we'd seen earlier on the Z1. The hardware still remains above average with its 27mm wide-angle G lens, f2.0 aperture, and a 1x2.3-inch Exmor RS BSI sensor. The biggest highlight is that the Xperia Z2 supports 4K video capture, which proves to be a little more than a tick on the box. Footage looks great, but there's precious few people who have a 4K panel to even view the content. As with the Z1, image quality remains a bit of a puzzle. There's no doubt that the sensor-lens combo is great, but shooting in full resolution mode results in very noisy shots and low-light photographs aren't very good at all. Indeed, Sony's own superior auto mode uses pixel oversampling to reduce noise and downscales images to 8 megapixels. In our experience, automatic mode was best avoided. You'll want to stick to superior auto or the manual mode that unfortunately doesn't come close to what is offered by Nokia or HTC on their devices. Occasionally the camera would struggle even in well-lit conditions. Lens flares and overexposed images were not too uncommon, and this also added a lot of noise to the shot. Being a flagship device, the Z2 is equipped with a robust range of connectivity options, which includes LTE, 3G HSPA+, Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN and AC, Bluetooth 4.0 with aptX, GPS, GLONASS, MHL 3.0 and NFC. The phone has built-in 16GB of storage, but you can expand that via the microSD card slot. About 12GB of free storage is available at launch. We were surprised by the lack of an IR port on the device, which is now a mainstay on all flagships. Battery life on the Z2 proved to be exceptional. This can be owed to the frugal Snapdragon 801 processor, as well as the generous 3200 mAh battery built into the phone. Standby times and battery drain was astoundingly low, and using the power saver modes can further extend it. The Sony Xperia Z2 is a flagship done right. Despite its apparent lack of a USP, it has polished out all its kinks and leaves little to complain. It might not have a depth sensor like the HTC M8 or a fingerprint sensor like the Galaxy S5, but then those are ancillary gimmicks at best. The Sony Xperia Z2 nails down the core smartphone experience, and how. The Xperia Z2 is priced at Rs 49,990 in India, and it ships with a free smart band too, as well as a cover that makes it quite an enticing deal. If you enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.